The Iowa Hawkeyes are set to kick off against the Kentucky Wildcats in the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl this Saturday down in Nashville. And a question that I had earlier in the week, well, really two questions. Who's taking scout team QB snaps, and who would be the third-string quarterback in an emergency situation? Now, you may say this doesn't interest me. You can go ahead and log off now if it doesn't interest you. It does interest me. And I had speculated with Coach Don Patterson during our bowl preview show that I thought Thomas Hartley might be a potential option as a scout team QB. And sure enough, according to a source, Thomas Hartley and Humboldt native Jamison Hines, who played at DB in relief of TJ Hall and Cooper DeJean in the last game of the season against Nebraska, those two guys are reportedly your scout team QBs. Now, that being said, according to a source that I spoke with, neither of those guys are going in at quarterback if something were to happen to both Joey Labus and Carson May. Keep in mind, Spencer Petras, Alex Padilla out. Carson May has never seen a snap. Joey Labus is the starter on Saturday. He is a mobile guy, so it's conceivable that he could get banged up, right? If you're running out of the pocket and trying to make plays, it's conceivable that you're more likely to get hurt. So who would Iowa's third-string quarterback be? I was told on good authority that Iowa's third-string quarterback in an emergency situation indeed would be Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean, a really good quarterback back at OAB-CIG here in Iowa, over in Ida Grove. Obviously, he played a different brand of football there. He's a smaller guy. I mean, he's listed at 6'2". I stood next to him. I don't think he's anywhere close to 6'2". No, I could be totally wrong on that. I think he's maybe closer to 6 foot. I don't see him at 6'2". But he is a guy who understands how to run an offense in an emergency situation. And guess what? We talked about him earlier in the year, how he would be potentially a really good Wildcat threat. Iowa does have a Wildcat package, and there's no reason to think that if it came to that, Cooper DeJean would be more than adequate, not only running out of the Wildcat, but throwing out of the Wildcat. I'd like to see that regardless of what happens to Carson May or Joey Labus. And I understand some people would say, well, he's Iowa's best corner with Riley Moss graduating. You don't want to risk his health heading into next year. I get that. But I was told on good authority here that Cooper DeJean is your third-string quarterback if it comes to that. Obviously, the coaches don't want it to come to that, and obviously we'll probably never see it in this game because it's unlikely that both Carson May and Joey Labus will go down. But like I said earlier, Labus' style of play creates that possibility of getting banged up a bit, and then you're just one snap away, right? Carson May comes into the game, and you're one snap, one injury away. Carson May throws a football and bangs his hand on a guy's helmet. I mean, that happened with Nate Stanley back in 2018. It's very easy. I mean, things happen quickly. And if that comes to that, then Cooper DeJean is your third-string quarterback. I just think it's fascinating. Again, if this doesn't interest you, if you think it's irrelevant, that's fine. You can log off if you want. But I thought it was at least something to throw your way that I was told on good authority this week. And I know that Cooper DeJean was asked about, he's asked by the media earlier this week, are you Iowa's emergency quarterback? Or actually, the question I believe was phrased, did you campaign for being a quarterback or being a third-string quarterback? And Cooper's answer was, no, I didn't. He didn't need to. Iowa making him their emergency third-string quarterback for the Music City Bowl, and it's purely result of need. Somebody's got to be the third-string guy, right? Somebody has to be. So maybe a little bit surprised that Kirk, being conservative Kirk, wouldn't opt to go with a guy like Thomas Hartley, who is not getting playing time, and he's a walk-on. Maybe a little bit surprised they wouldn't go with the safer option, but boy, it's intriguing. If something happens, you don't want it to happen. You don't want nothing to happen to Carson May or Joey Labus, but intriguing if somehow Cooper DeJean sees the field on offense. Of course, I'll be here with you live following the Music City Bowl with Coach Don Patterson. It's Iowa postgame with Coach Don Patterson right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. We'll talk to you Saturday afternoon following Iowa and Kentucky down in Nashville.